Good evening and welcome. Today is August the 10th, 2022, and the Board of Appeals for the City of Gaithersburg is now in session. Calling the meeting to order. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the June 8th minutes. May I have a motion for the approval?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the June 8th, 2022 meeting.
And I need a second.
Second.
And do we have any discussion about the minutes? Okay. Hearing nothing, I'll call for the vote. All those, oh, I forgot to recognize, we have Philip Cook here with us tonight, and he is sitting in as our alternate and observing the meeting with us. Thank you. And so let me call for the vote. All those in favor of passing the minutes, the June 8th minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the vote passes 5-0 for the approval of the June 8th minutes.
I was unable to vote because I was not in it, so I have to.
Oh, I didn't
abstain.
hear you. So did
No,
you
I
abstain?
I abstained, yes.
Okay.
You can, this has come up in the past, you can still vote for the approval of minutes even if you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't
As
affect
per-
this vote, but just so you know.
As per Frank,
Correct.
our city
If
attorney.
you want to amend your vote.
I will amend to an aye.
Okay, so I hear 5 ayes and the motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Okay, so tonight we have a public hearing and it's a special exception amendment. And it's BOA 9229-2022. It's the amendment to the special exception for telecommunications facility on the parking garage at 430 Allied Place in the mixed use development zone. This is an amendment to the special exception. And tonight we have Jasmine Fords. I'm going to ask you first to go ahead and present the case, and then we'll hear from the applicant.
Good evening. So this is a public hearing on Board of Appeals case BOA 9229-2022. The hearing was published in accordance with the requirements of the city charter and code on the city's website, and the property was properly posted. At the present time, there are 14 exhibits in the record files, and they're referenced in an exhibit list in the files. The individual exhibits may be reviewed during the course of the meeting or in the Planning and Code Administrative Office during regular business hours at City Hall or on the city's website. Any objections to the receipt of any exhibit should be noted prior to the closing of the record. Otherwise, they will be deemed received in evidence. The applicant's requesting an amendment to a special exception for a telecommunications facility on a parking garage roof at 430 Allied Place, known as the Hinton Creek Apartments. Pursuant to section 24-160D.3 subsection D, telecommunication facilities are allowed by special exception in the MXD zone. On June 13th, 2018, the Board of Appeals granted approval for a special exception application BOA 7814-2018 for the construction of a rooftop telecommunications facility. In accordance to section 24-188D, the application was presented to the Planning Commission for recommendation on August 3rd of 2020. The Planning Commission concurred with staff's recommendation and recommend approval. And this evening, I will have Lee Duquette from Advantage Engineers will do the presentation this evening.
Okay, thank you. And before we start, Mr. Duquette, may I go? Is it Duquette?
Yes.
Okay. Can I go ahead and swear you in as a witness?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you are about to give in this matter shall be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
Okay, so we are doing an intent modification on the site at 430 Allied Place. And as you can see, here's the current coverage map. So right in the middle is where the site is, which is 625A. And you can see to the northeast of the site and to the east, these light greens, it means it's not good coverage, and we want it to be more in the darker greens. So this area is really tricky to get, you know, obviously a spot in this area because there's not many tall buildings. And this is what it would be once we go on air. See, it's, you know, the darker green all the way around. So it expands the coverage a lot to the east. And this is the work description. Basically a simple antenna modification adding 4 new antennas, relocating an antenna, installing a RF friendly gamma sector screen wall, and it's not visible from the ground at all. 4 RUs, 2 equipment cabinets, and other associated equipment. And then this is the view of the parking lot. So it's on the roof of the parking garage. And to the northeast on the right is the existing screen wall. And the one on the left is the proposed 8 by 8 by 8 foot screen wall. And you can see the picture of, the aerial view as well. So where it is, it's surrounded by buildings. And then this is the south elevation. So if you're looking from, from the Allied Place looking up, on the left is the proposal with the 8 by 8 screen wall, not visible from the ground. You'll see in the photo sims. And then from the east, it's so you're looking from the east looking west, and one on the left is the one that's the screen wall, but again, you can't see it from the ground. So this is the photo sim. This is what is existing in the upper right, and this is the same basically, except there's a little bit up, but you can't see it from the ground, only from the parking garage. And then this is from the north looking south, and you can see exactly the same, no change in the view from the ground. And then this is looking up Allied Place. So there's the 7-Eleven, there's the parking garage, and you can't see where it is because it's behind the buildings on the left. And then this one is from the east, and you can't see it because there's building and trees in the way. And this one is looking from the west from Goshen Road, and you can't see anything from Goshen Road either. So that's it. Thank you for your time.
You. I'll open it up to the board for questions.
Can we just go back to Sim 4? I just want to make sure my eyes aren't playing tricks on me.
Photos in 4?
Yeah, in the top right, that's existing. That's not what's being added.
Yeah, the one on the top right
Yeah.
is existing.
Okay.
There is a screen wall already. That's the northeast side of the building.
Got it.
What we're proposing is on the southwest side of the building. You can't see.
Would that basically be behind the tree that's in the middle of this picture?
Basically, yeah, it'd be around there, around where the tree is.
Got it. The image is so smooth and on the top right of that picture that it looks like it's a simulated thing, but that's actually what we would see. That's an actual picture of what's currently there.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
My eyes were playing tricks on me. Thank you.
Mhm.
Is there no change being made to the existing structure on the northeast?
Northeast is just removing and replacing, or we're adding antennas, but it's within the existing screen wall.
I'm just kind of curious. I think the city's done a great job in vetting this process and certainly the photos, but and they recommend it. And so my question is, how many square miles do you pick up adding this booster? Just out of curiosity.
Well, it's roughly, I mean, it kind of depends, but anywhere from a mile or half a mile to a mile, basically, on any given side. But
So-
it depends on, the topography and various factors.
So T-Mobile, you guys understand where your areas are and you just add these
Yeah.
antennas within miles of each other, basically.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's just this particular area, there's not a lot. It's, you have this apartment building, but there's no other, tall buildings around. There's no place, there's no towers around there. We just really need to upgrade right around here. And it's a densely packed area with these apartments and other apartments along Goshen Road and up, along Mid-County Highway, there's neighborhoods. So it's going to really help to, as you can see, the dark green, it greatly expands, especially to the east.
Thank you.
just have a couple of questions here, which kind of reminded me about the enhancements there. Is this also going to help boost fire and rescue coverage as
Yes.
part of this upgrade?
Yes, it would. I mean, you know, the signal strength is weak in some areas and, you know, it's just gonna make things faster to connect the call and everything else. So it's important for 911 services.
Great. And then my other question is, so it's on top of a parking garage and I know we approved something, I think it was back in 2018. So I may have asked this question before, but is there access, like public access? Well, I guess first to the community, is it a gated community? And then is there access to the garage itself, or how would you gain access?
This is not a gated community.
Okay.
The garage, there's an entrance off of Allied Place. And you just go up and yeah, so I mean, any T-Mobile RF engineer, or any construction, they have access.
Great. Can you just put the coverage map up one more time again, just so we can, as a board, just look at it one more time?
So
I'd love to see it go back and forth just so I can pay it better attention. So this is how it is now.
yeah,
And where, okay, all right, I see.
It's kind of boring.
so it basically fills in this whole area in dark green.
Looks like you gotta find another place for an antenna.
Yeah.
Is this intended to be just an increase to the existing 3G coverage, or is it going to bring 5G also?
It's an upgrade to the existing coverage to 4G and ultimately 5G as well.
That looks great. Any questions on the coverage map? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And so now I am going to ask for a vote to close the record. So can I have a motion?
Chair,
Oh, wait.
can I just suggest,
Oh, yes.
just acknowledge that there's nobody in the audience?
Yeah, I was jumping too fast here. Okay. I'd also thank you, Caroline. I'd just like to acknowledge that there's no other people in the audience tonight for additional testimony. So now I'll move forward. Thank you. Go ahead and close the record, and I'll ask for a vote to close the record now.
Go ahead and move, we close the record and move into discussion.
We can have a second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Okay, so let's go into the board discussion now and review the draft resolution. All right, so as we've seen with the increase of the technology for cell phones, we also have the increase now for additional cell phone towers and density, which I think is just part of the way the technology curve works. So was there any further discussion on the location of this equipment and the actual coverage of it itself?
I just think just generally it's a permitted special exception. It complies with all the standards and requirements. It's not visible from the street. It's consistent with the neighborhood, not going to interrupt or interfere with anybody's enjoyment. I see no reason not to.
Great. Any other comments?
I just want to note that, you know, with the existing structure for the cell phone on the other side of the garage, it really won't add anything that's not already there.
Any other comments? All right, well, let's see, then moving along at this point, we can review the draft resolution. And is there any comments on the draft resolution? And if not, I'll just need a motion to approve the application as per our resolution. And if someone that needs the resolution, we do have 4 conditions associated with it, and I have it here in front of me. Well, you might have it in front of you too. Robert?
Yeah, I got it right here. I got a small sheet.
Do you need a bigger sheet?
Yeah, I got it.
And there's, you can just use the sample motions.
Yeah, right there to the bottom of your.
Sure. Thanks. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Appeals of the City of Gaithersburg on the 10th day of August 2022, the case BOA 9229-2022, the petition of Lee Ducat on behalf of T-Mobile Northeast LLC, requesting an amendment to special exception to install 4 new antennas and related equipment in the MXD mixed-use development zone on Block N 430 Allied Place, Gaithersburg, Maryland, be approved with the following 4 conditions.
Okay, and may I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much, Mr. Duguid, and this portion of your participation in the meeting is now over.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you very much. You're welcome to stay when we have other items on our agenda this evening. So
Oh, I gotta rest. I'm sick.
okay,
Yeah, I'm negative.
okay, that's good. That's okay.
Jasmine appreciates that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So just moving along with the agenda from the staff, we did have an item on the agenda from, I'm going to ask Caroline maybe to share a little bit more about it. I do have a couple of questions, but I'll open it up to the board too. And this is the rules of procedure proposed for revisions for the Board of Appeals adoption.
So mostly I'm gonna turn it actually over to Eric because these are
Sure.
some changes that I know were being prepared across all of the different boards. But in addition to whatever Eric has proposed, there were just some minor change of a date and other minor cleanups that I added to it, but mostly it's just.
Yeah, I can go over
Go
all of it. So like Carolyn was saying, legal department met and we reviewed all of the different rules and procedures, found that they weren't all in tune with general legal guidelines that we typically want to see. So I'm just going to go over the major changes that were had in this particular rules of procedure. First of all, generally speaking, the second cover page was entirely deleted. That listed all the commissioners, city council members, city staff, just because those are always subject to change. And it makes more sense to not necessarily come back and revise it all the time. The 4 main sections that were reviewed and revised were section 1.2, 5.2, 5.11, and 11.2. Going to 1.2, we changed that instead of expressly stating an address, since the city council chamber is set to be moved, we decided to do away with that address just to make sure that people aren't confused by that. If you go to, there was nothing on section 2, section 3, section 4 that was changed. Section 5, this is the one that changed drastically. 5.2 in particular was included. It's the provision regarding testimony under oath. And just for the record, I know that this board already does a great job with making sure that everybody is testifies under oath. But other commissions weren't doing the best of jobs, so we decided to actually go ahead and include 5.2 language. You will notice that everything was kind of rewritten for clarity and formatting by Carolyn. The 5.11, the new 5.11, previous 5.10, the last sentence was removed. The sentence read, the spokesperson for an individual or individuals who is not a lawyer will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses. And after reviewing that and analyzing it, litigants in all civil cases are afforded the right to cross-examine. It's a constitutional right. So if this board is going to extend the ability for a spokesperson to stand in place of a party or interested party or the applicant, then that spokesperson necessarily has to have the right to cross-examine. So that's why that was taken out. And then finally, 11.2, there was a sentence added that city staff may recommend amendments anytime without the requirement of 45-day period. That was just to make the process more efficient, to allow, changes to amendments like the ones we're doing right now, without a board member having to make a motion, having to wait 45 days. And if you guys have any questions, I can certainly answer.
I'll open it up to the board for questions. Okay, I have a question if there's any, while you're waiting. So back to 11.2, that was really my only question here, where it says the city staff may recommend amendments anytime without the requirement of a 45-day wait period. And so could you just go over again? So that was done to speed a process along, or?
Correct. So as 11.2 was previously written,
Yeah.
it didn't allow, well, it specified that board members are the only ones. Well, it didn't say the only ones, but
Yeah.
you could kind of imply from the way the rule was written that you 5, 6 are the only ones that can recommend amendments. And if we're going to go by that rule, you're kind of confined by that 45-day wait period. And instead of only making it the only way to amend these rules is by motion from you guys, it allows city staff who are, I don't want to say more, accustomed or more knowledgeable about the rules, but they play with the rules a little bit more and can, zone in on certain issues or circumstances that may need amending from time to time.
So that's allowed for flexibility.
It's allowed for flexibility, allowed for efficiency, and to a certain extent uniformity throughout the commissions and boards.
Okay, all right.
So I have a question about the same section. I see it still notes that if a board member recommends a adjustment to the rules, amendment to the rules, that there's still a 45-day wait period. If the city staff does, there's not a 45-day wait period. I'm curious, first of all, about what the difference is, and also how that plays with the state rules about public comment.
So if the state rules of public comment,
My understanding is for quite a lot of things in city government that there's generally a public comment period that's required. I don't know if it's required in this case, but I see the 45-day wait period listed. So I'm curious.
So for rules of sorry to interrupt, but for rules of procedure, that public comment mechanism isn't necessarily something that controls. I was thinking to perhaps remove the 45-day mandated wait period for the board members as well. If you guys would like to amend as drafted, the 11.2 to remove the 45 days prior to a meeting, then we can certainly do that.
My only thought with that is if there's no public comment requirement, then I don't know why there would need to be a wait period of any type.
I would argue that it's probably a good idea to give us an opportunity to discuss and read and prepare. Whereas when it comes to the rules and sort of the technical requirements, staff are professionals, we're lay people. We probably need more of an opportunity to kind of figure out what's going on. Whereas when we get recommendations from staff, that our opportunities already have.
And to kind of contrast with how other commissions and boards do it, I mean, the way it was written didn't necessarily deny the ability for staff to move forward an amendment. It just wasn't expressed in the actual rule. And through this language, we now express it and expressly present the opportunity for staff to bring forward that any sort of amendment. Before, it didn't deny it, but it only stated that board members could do it, right? Now, if we want to take away the 45-day waiting period, I think that Vice Chair was correct in his analysis.
So we meet on a monthly basis as it is.
Mhm.
So usually there's 30 days in between our meetings at least. And that in order for, I guess if the staff wants to recommend an amendment, it would need to be at least a week or two prior to the meeting actually happening for it to be posted on the website. So it seems to me that the way it's written right now is okay
Okay.
for me, but we'd have to take a polling of the board to see if there's any amendments to this language. Caroline, would we just vote on the discussion or just have a poll?
Well, once you know how you want to proceed, ultimately, when you've agreed on the language, someone would make a motion to adopt.
Okay,
the
and then
new
if there's
rules of
any
procedure.
exceptions to change the
Yeah.
language, okay. All right. So that's something to think about when we take our vote. Okay. If you want to change this language to remove the 45 days.
I mean, you can talk about it now before you vote.
Not that it matters, but does it, why does it have to be 45 days?
That's, I mean, to be frank, the 45 days was here. I didn't decide on the 45 days. I think that 30 days, since it's month to month, I think a 30-day waiting period perhaps would be appropriate, given the fact that you make a motion or motion or rule in writing. If you did it, say, today, you would need 31 days until the next meeting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As opposed to 45, which would then push it to two
Two
meetings
meetings.
out. Right.
I actually like the 45 days for the exact same reason, but inverted in the sense that 45 days is inclusive necessarily of two meetings, right? So
Okay.
it basically says it's proposed. Maybe in one meeting, there's sort of a review and discussion, then in the next meeting, we vote on it. And what the 45 days avoids is if you put in a 30 or 31 and there's a holiday, we push it by a week or something else happens, right? This is inclusive. None of these rules are going to be so like a burning platform. We have to address it now, right? And we can take our time with it perfectly. So I actually prefer the 45 days.
And to add on to that, once you guys make a motion, for 45 days, yes, you do have that extra meeting to discuss it, as opposed to city staff, right? Who have probably discussed it outside of a meeting, and once we bring it to the board's attention, we can, I can put on a presentation similar to this one and see what you guys think. If you guys don't like it, you guys can deny it. Whereas the 45-day period for the board members allows for a open discussion in a public forum.
So I still question though, I mean, for actually the exact reason that you responded to me, which was regardless of who writes it, whether it's city staff who are obviously more knowledgeable about this than we are, or one of us. I question why there's a difference in the amount of time frame. We want an opportunity to discuss it, to absorb it, to think about it, regardless of where it comes from, or we don't. I think that whatever the number of days, 0, 45, 30, whatever it is, should be consistent between no matter where it comes from.
But the board approves the rule change. So we always have the options to defer to the next meeting if we don't feel that we have enough time.
So that's why you wouldn't need the 45 days, because you could still defer it out.
Right, but I kind of go now with Aaron that the 45 days is a good way to have the discussion, and the staff can propose at any time, but we have the right to wait to also present to approve the vote. As the chair, I can just say, well, let's go ahead and wait till next month to talk about this.
Then we're talking about the rules, right? We're not talking about policy, we're not talking about ruling on a particular case, this is really just the technical document sort of governs how we hold these meetings and how we follow our procedures. So these are going to be technical questions that come up. Naturally speaking, we're going to need more time to properly consider technical questions than I'm comfortable with it as written, certainly comfortable with it if people want to extend it for whatever reason, but since
But just out of curiosity, 45 days, no days. If we get something as a board and we don't feel comfortable, we can always defer to the next meeting.
Correct.
That's correct.
Yeah, just making sure. So I'm fine with 45 days, 30 days, but you can defer it out if you're not comfortable. The only thing that not having a day, the day waiting period, for lack of a better word, is if there's something that's relatively easy, you can move forward and get it done. But I'm fine either way.
Well, we see here that we can suspend the rules if we have the unanimous concurrence of those members present voting. So that's 11.1. So we don't even have to follow our own rules if we don't want to. So
That's why you're the chairman.
that's correct. Okay, so, all right, so let's see here. So, okay, what do you think about it as written, written as is, or if you'd like to see it changed?
I'm okay with it as written. I was just curious about the differences.
Good discussion.
Same, yeah, I just was curious and got my questions.
I like any time to confer and read over and.
And then I have a technical question. So because Philip is here tonight, can we have a unanimous vote?
I think you can still only have 5 votes to
Yeah.
adopt, right?
Yeah.
So, but Philip, you're welcome to comment too.
I don't know, we can use 11.1 to decide otherwise.
Right, there you go, there you go. You're certainly welcome to participate in this portion of the meeting, right, Caroline, for comment?
I would say, since this is something that you're going to vote on, that you really need to restrict the discussions for people that are voting, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, okay. I know this asks for the legal concurrence there.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's nothing personal.
Sorry. Well, my bad. You want to do public comment otherwise. Okay, all right, so we'll stick to the rules. No pun intended. Okay. Did we have any, okay, so I think we're okay with the section 11.0. Is there any other recommendations for edits or changes as presented by staff? That's really, I guess I just wanted to know the background on the cross-examination strike. Was that based on some previous, was that based on previous activities here at the Board of Appeals, or was that based on just general?
I read it.
Overall? Yeah.
And that immediately popped up red flags because you're the way the last sentence is written is you're denying an applicant, if they have a spokesperson, a constitutional right to cross-examination, which in the Constitution, it's written that it's criminal defendants, right? But there's case law in Maryland that has extended that right to civil litigants,
Okay.
which is where we are now. And if the board is going to allow, I don't remember which section it was, but it allows a spokesperson to stand in place of the applicant. And if you're going to allow a spokesperson to stand in place of the applicant, then you can't deny that spokesperson the right to not, or to cross-examine people in opposition to the application.
Okay, so I just want to make sure.
Sorry, just to be reading all of section 5, so not section 5.11, but just looking back at section 5.1, it looks like we need to just clean up the punctuation, actually, because in this respect, the Board of Appeals should have the authority to. We got a number of items delineated ending with subsection G, but then there's semicolon.
Mhm.
We probably need a and at the end of F and a period at the end of G.
Correct. We'll do that.
Anything else? Okay. Any other comments on the rules, procedure as presented to us? Okay, are you ready to call for the vote? Can I go ahead and call for the vote for, based on what was presented? Okay, so I'll just need a motion.
I'll motion to call for a vote on the amendments.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second.
And we'll have in the minutes, the staff noted the changes as recommended by the board. Okay, so we don't need to delineate those
No,
out.
no,
We got that there. Okay, any other comments? Okay, so I'm gonna call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Vote passes 5-0. Thank you. Thank you for this update too. Very good.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any additional items from the staff this evening?
no, just last thing is that the next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September 14th. And I think I told everybody previously that, and hopefully it remains the case that everybody can attend. We'll try to have a work session. We haven't done anything to just kind of go over everything since we have new people and we haven't done it in years, just to go through all of our procedures. And I don't think we will have anything else on the agenda, so that'll be a good time to do it. Hopefully everybody can come.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Eric or Jasmine?
Nothing for me.
All right. This meeting is now adjourned.
We can breathe.